This is a Film Stories original podcast.
We made this.
Welcome back, everybody, to the X-Cast. The truth is in here. You are listening to our special Fight the Future Minute series of podcasts. I'm your host for this episode, Carl Sweeney, and you are listening to our coverage of minute 57 of the film, which begins at 56 minutes and 0 seconds, with Mulder and Scully still investigating the playground, and this minute ends after they are pointed in the right direction by the kids who turn up. And I am joined once again by Caredwen Foley to discuss this minute. Hey, Caredwen.
Hi there, how are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good, thanks. Pretty good. Looking forward to this. It's a good minute, I think, yeah. Where should we start, Caredwen? What would you like to bring up about this one?
One thing that I really like about this minute is how everything shot by those low angles gives it sort of an unorthodox, unsettling feeling. The sun is so low in the sky that I think even just to... I think you said in the last minute that they were really running out of time to put these scenes together. But I don't know if these shooting angles were partly dictated by some of those, restrictions. But it's just beautiful how that kind of low light and the looking at these children from above as Mulder and Scully walk up to them, and the perspective makes their silhouettes so indistinct and dark against these the kind of hulking foregrounded images of these three kids on bikes. There's something, I don't know what it is exactly, but something about that image kind of reminds me of E.T.
Spielbergian. Yeah. It is. Yeah. Bowman says something very interesting on one of the commentaries. So I think I said this on a previous episode. There are two commentaries. There's one from 99 and there's a more recent one. I guess there's been multiple releases of the film over the years. But on one of them he says that he remembers being on set and that thinking that he had to make these shots look like he'd been thinking about them for months. There's a level of intuitiveness to it.
Yeah.
And again, there was, all this tension on set, as I discussed last time. Time was running out. The sun was setting. So apparently he was kind of running the actors through the lines really quickly, do it again, do it again, do it again. And of course, these are child actors, they're in this scene as well. And apparently they were a bit kind of bemused by what was going on. And apparently they went off script as well. So yeah, there's kind of a nice, unvarnished, authentic feel to their kind of banter, I think, or their rapport with Mulder and Scully.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I didn't realize that some of the dialogue was ad-libbed, but it does seem pretty organic for the most part. I think Mulder and Scully seem a little bit stilted, but in a way that feels appropriate to that interaction.
Yeah.
They're FBI agents pursuing, trying to uncover this global conspiracy, and they're trying to get, useful intelligence from three kids on bicycles who just came up to them. So it's kind of, I really like the moment where the kid tells them they look like door-to-door salesmen. Because they just seem completely out of their element. And Mulder's rolling with it, I think, a little bit better than Scully is. But, it's a beautiful scene. I'm really impressed, by if Bowman was trying to, kind of craft these images on the fly, because there's some of them are kind of painterly almost. It's very windy as they're trying to shoot the scene, which I imagine must have also introduced some wrinkles, but that in and of itself, I feel almost gives it a sense of foreboding, because it reminds me a bit of when they're on top of the federal building, when Darius Michaud is on top of the federal building and the wind is coming off the chopper. So the kids are here with their shirts billowing and shaking in the wind, and Mulder's coat jacket is flapping around and Scully's hair and things like that, and it just makes it feel like something big is approaching, even though it's just completely a relic of the fact that they're shooting on a windy day.
I was just wondering, as you were speaking there about Mulder's kind of rolling with how the kids are acting better than Scully is. And I was trying to think, how many times do we see them interacting with children about this age, or even a little older, in the series? And the first one that came to mind for me, is it Wet Wired, where they walking on some kids who are like watching Die Hard in the house or whatever?
Yeah.
Is there anything comparable? I don't know.
I'm trying to think of this like kind of middle school age. I don't know if we get a ton of, like, it seems like most of their interactions with kids are younger. There's a fair amount, you know, the kid in the Kalushari, or like Kevin Kreider or Emily, or like they're all like, I don't know, 6 or under, you know, like 3 to 6. It feels like kids in that age range come up a fair amount, but yeah, you don't really see them interact with middle schoolers all that much. It's kind of great though.
Yeah, I really like this interaction. Yeah. And the kids, of course, have been given these like shiny new bikes to kind of buy them off. But I mean, it's good that they ultimately cough up the information, I suppose, isn't it? And they send them on their way, which is nice. Mm-hmm. Okay, so was there anything else in this minute that really struck you?
The only other thing about this minute that I really liked was when they all point in the same direction at the same time. I think that's just like, that's just like a wonderful... It's the kind of thing that could seem so like artificial and so scripted. And it's a little unsettling, I think, because of that. Because it's kind of hard to imagine that being how that, you know, like if you're the 2 other kids with the one kid who pointed first, why would you, he's already pointing that way. You don't need to also point that way. But there's just, I don't know, there's something kind of choreographed and dreamlike about it almost. Like Mulder and Scully are taking direction from these portents in a way instead of actual children.
Yeah, I really like that moment because like the score sort of kicks in there as well, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. And it's like almost like the way they're pointing. The next shot is the road, isn't it? And the road, it almost like makes an X. But I just liked it.
That's very nice. Good. Yeah, the car commercial tracking shot. This television film adaptation brought to you by Oldsmobile.
Well, I like that about this film. I like it when it feels like a kind of cross-country, North by Northwest-esque adventure. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like it does particularly in this mid-section of the film. Yeah,
it does give it a real sense of grandeur. I mean, the car commercial thing is kind of a hacky, comparison. But, the reason car commercials do that is because it makes something look like it has grand scale.
Yeah.
And the reason they're doing that here is because it does that effectively.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Okay, so I've done all this research on playgrounds, so I don't want it to go to waste. So I've got a couple of facts for you, and then I've got another quiz for you, if that's all right.
All right.
Well, one thing I discovered, and I didn't know this, I probably should have known this, but following World War II, London witnessed the introduction of junk playgrounds. Playgrounds constructed from recycled junk, which were provided in order for children to design and create playgrounds in spaces such as bomb sites, building sites, and wasteland.
Wow.
So I don't know. That sounds really fascinating to me. It sounds like a good thing, good use.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of a lemons out of lemonade situation. It's hard to imagine that taking place nowadays just because I can imagine, parents being much less comfortable. Yeah, much less comfortable with the potential risks. But what a beautiful way to try to restore some of the areas that were destroyed.
Yeah. Okay. And then my research took me to something called the CBC Kids website. And there was an article about cool playgrounds around the world. Okay. So I just wanted to mention one and then we'll do the quiz. But there's one in Japan. It's called the Hakone Open Air Sculpture Park, which is a knitted playground. So a Japanese artist designed and crocheted a huge hanging playground using braided rope. She spent 3 months dyeing the material and then a year crocheting and assembling the playground. So yeah, it sounds fantastic. And apparently the article says there were plans to kind of roll this out around Japan, but I don't know if that has happened or not, but it sounds cool.
That's incredible. I'm just looking at pictures of this right now. I can't imagine how long. I crochet and knit quite a bit as well, but I can't imagine how long it would have taken to do this.
I suppose it's the difference between crocheting kind of like after work or kind of making it your focus, I suppose.
Yeah. It takes a lot. I mean, I'm like, keeping my fingers very busy trying to make some baby blankets for friends right now, and the idea of making like swing sets is just boggles the mind.
All right. So there are some other really cool playgrounds according to this website around the world. So let's see. You had 3 out of 3 on the last quiz. So,
oh God, I got a high. I can only go down from here.
The only way is down. Yeah. Okay. So a playground in Denmark features a life-size replica of which animal? a whale, an elephant, or a giraffe?
I don't really know that I do. Where in Denmark is it? Do you know?
Let me see. I can't remember.
I'm just buying time here.
All I know is that it's at the North Sea Oceanarium. I can't give you any more specific advice, I'm afraid.
Interesting. I mean, not that it's going to help me. I don't know. I'm going to say giraffe. That feels fun.
It would be fun. Unfortunately, it's not right in this instance, I'm afraid. It's a whale.
I mean, yeah, that seems probably more fitting.
So you can climb up the whale. You can enter it through its mouth. There are drawings inside of the internal organs.
That's very cool.
You can go up to the nose and look out through the whale's eyes as well. So yeah. Wow. And there's a slide to get out. You have to go down the slide at the back. So this sounds pretty awesome. I got to get there.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. I've been to Copenhagen, but I have never been to wherever this this whale playground is.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. A playground in Japan has features consisting of how many recycled tires? 3,000, 10,000, or 30,000? So it's, let me see if I have the name of this. It's just called Tire Park, according to this website. I don't know.
I'm going to assume that like the play surface must be made of recycled tires. And like in addition to whatever else they might be used for. I'm going to say 30,000.
I'm afraid it's a mere 3,000.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so the tyres have been used. I can't see what the surface is, but the tyres have been used to create swings, tunnels, bridges, and huge sculptures for climbing. And the sculptures at the park include a giant robot and a Godzilla made out of tyres. That's fun.
Okay. Well, I'm clearly regressing to the mean with my quiz performance today.
I mean, you can salvage some respectability with this last question, perhaps. Let's see. So, a playground in Spain is inspired by which 18th century novel? Robinson Crusoe, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, or Gulliver's Travels?
Good Lord. Because I was guessing it was going to be Don Quixote until you started listing options, and then it wasn't one of them. I'm torn between Robinson Crusoe, because that feels like a fun children's book, and Gulliver's Travels, because it's got so much different weird stuff in it, but it's less of a kiss. I'm going to say Gulliver's Travels. Why not?
It is Gulliver's Travels. Well done.
Yes!
So yeah, the story, I'm sure everyone knows, but the man who was washed ashore after a shipwreck only to find himself taken prisoner by tiny people. And so this park features a huge concrete structure of Gulliver tied down by his captors. The statue is as long as 5 school buses parked end to end. So the idea is that you climb all over Gulliver, the stairs, tunnels, ramps, and you can climb up the ropes and slide down him. It sounds like a blast. I mean,
yeah, that sounds fun.
Playgrounds are one of those things that, like, I aged out of only because it became socially unacceptable to spend a lot of time in them, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Well, 4 out of 6. That's pretty good over the 2 days on aggregate. So
yeah, I feel okay about that.
Yeah, I think you should. I think that's very respectable indeed. Okay, right. So that wraps up our latest Fight the Future Minute. Thanks for listening, everybody. And Caredwen, you'll be back with me for minute 58 as the car commercial continues the pace, I suppose.
Yes.
So that should be fun. So until our next minute, listeners, remember, as always, trust no one.
Previously on the We Made This Network. Make it so.
Someday we will sing songs of the battle of Discovery's survival. Through adversity.
Yeah.
And Tony, if it had been any other series, if it had been any other project, if it had been any other project other than, being the flagship to launch a whole new commercial enterprise by a little entity no one ever heard of called CBS, if it had not had a 3-way pressure point, if there'd been this kind of problem in development on anything else, they would have pulled the plug and, walked away. But it was Star Trek, and it had to launch this new series, and the whole world is watching. So, by God, keep throwing money at it until we get something on the screen, literally.
Pull or pass?
Amazon Prime in the UK is now listing New Mutants as a pre-order.
Yes.
It's got a 12 rating, and it's got no release date.
Yeah. But you can pay for it up front.
You can. And I'm almost tempted, because it'll just kind of drop in your Amazon when it's available. And it's a film I've wanted to see for a very long time. I wonder whether we'll notice that the cast have aged by the time we get to see that film.
The Movie Palace.
Okay, so the main reason we're here, of course, is this new book, Daring Darlene, Queen of the Scream. How would you describe this book to people who are unaware of it? I mean, you can give away as much of the story as you want, I guess. But yeah, how would you kind of pitch it, I suppose?
Well, it's a story of a girl named Darlene, who has been an actress in the silent film industry since earliest childhood. She was a child star.
Check out all of these shows and more on the We Made This podcast network.